Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicle Speaks.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
So in this random game of tit for tat that Porsha and Simon have been playing with one another, the saga continues. Yesterday we spoke about Simon Guobadia saying that Porsha broke into the house, disengaging the security cameras, coming in with a man who was brandishing a gun. Next thing you know, she came in with her mother and her mother's boyfriend. All of this was going down. But what he did not tell you is that the only reason Porsha was trying to come into the house in the first place is that Simon wasn't at home. He was out of town. Porsha was trying to come in and get some of her belongings. However, Simon didn't tell you that he changed the code to the gate, and he also changed the code to the house. Porsha had to try to get in to get her belongings because he wasn't answering the phone. Porsha contacted Simon's attorneys and was like, look, he wasn't supposed to make any changes to anything. Financial information, key codes, lock codes, phone codes, nothing. And they was like, okay, so they agreed with her. However, Simon was like, no, I'm going to get my own attorney that's going to agree with me. And that's when he changed attorney. Now Simon is saying that Porsha doesn't need to delete anything out of her phone because she was texting a man that she shouldn't have been texting in the first place. Child, this gets really, really messy. We are going to break it down as I told you we would. But before we get into all of that, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any news regarding this story and so much more. Now let's get back into it. So let's skip all of the small talk and pleasantries and jump straight into this document that I told you yesterday I would get once it's available today. Now this is from Simon. It says, after intentionally creating a media frenzy regarding matters bearing no effect on the party's marriage on February 22nd, 2024, without any forewarning or communication to husband, wife suddenly filed for divorce after the party had been married just over a year. Upon information and belief, wife took calculated steps to marry husband, only to subsequently divorce him just 14 months later to intentionally trigger the provisions of the party's prenuptial agreement for her personal financial gain and greed. After filing divorce, the wife abandoned the marital residence without having any prior discussion with her husband as to how matters regarding their household or marriage would be handled moving forward. Since her abrupt departure, wife has been living at an unknown location while the husband and his minor children have been living in the marital residence. At all times relevant, the husband has solely maintained the payments and upkeep to the marital residence without any contributions whatsoever from his wife. The wife appeared at the marital residence on 5 separate occasions since she abandoned the home. On 2 of those occasions, including the incident on March 21st, 2024, the wife appeared at the marital residence with a man visibly bearing a gun for reasons unknown to the respondent. Given the unannounced presence of the wife and an armed gunman, police had to be called to maintain the peace on at least one of those occasions. Wife's presence at the marital residence with the armed gunman was frightening for the third parties that were present at the home. Furthermore, wife has been directing third parties to call and harass individuals at the marital residence in an effort to force them out of the home without any regard for order and due process through the legal system. As of recent, on or about March 24th, 2024, the wife, along with her mother's boyfriend, made forcible entry into the marital residence, disengaging the security cameras and tampered with items and evidence in the home. The wife forced the presence of the children out of the bedroom and began yelling throughout the home and making disparaging remarks about the respondent in the earshot of the children. Since the filing of the instant divorce, wife's actions have been erratic, unstable, threatening, and harassing to petitioner, the house staff, and the minor children. Wife's behavior has caused safety concerns, especially since there are minor children, husband's children, currently living in the marital residence. On March 15, 2024 and March 21, 2024, the undersigned counsel for the husband reached out to wife's attorney in attempts to make a good faith effort to resolve the emergent issues between the parties peacefully without the court's intervention. Those efforts failed and were met with rejection from wife without the explanation of wife's motives. During the pendency of this divorce, wife has also sent communications directly to husband wherein wife seeks to blackmail husband, indicating that she will disseminate information to the media about respondent. On February 22nd, 2024, this court issued a court-ordered amended automatic domestic standing order that states each party is enjoined and restrained from doing any act injuring, maltreating, vilifying, threatening, molesting, or harassing the adverse party, the children of the party, parties or a family member of the adverse party. As described herein, wife has intentionally violated the standing order by maltreating, vilifying, threatening, molesting, and harassing the husband, the family, the children, and the staff of husband. Unfortunately, the wife has had no respect or regard to the court and this judicial process, and thus is relegated to self-help by taking matters into her own hand. Therefore, it is necessary to have this court intervene. Simon wants the court to find Porsha in contempt of the February 22nd standing order and issues a restraining order against his wife to refrain from the aforementioned acts and restrain Porsha from being able to contact Simon or his family. He also states that the validity of this prenuptial agreement has not been determined by the court, so it looks like Simon is trying to get to the money as well. Now, he's wanting to stay in the home. He wants to keep the status quo. Porsha has a home that she purchased prior to them getting married, and he believes that's where she's been staying at. He doesn't think that it's fair that she be able to keep that home and him have to go out and find other provisions for him and his family to be able to live. Simon does not feel like it's fair that she's requesting to stay in the home that they once shared, given he will still have to make payments on it, and then he has to find another place to live as well. Now, before we get into anything that Porsha had to say, let's continue with Simon for a minute. Now, he submitted a notice to preserve evidence and spoliation notice to petitioner. So in this filing, he's pretty much saying do not destroy anything: cell phones, emails, phone calls, voice recordings. He wants it all, and it's a reason why. So let's get into this list of things that he does not want her to delete, because it gets very juicy. Number 1, it says any and all evidence regarding any claims and or defenses involved in this action. Number 2, any and all communication between Porsha Diane Williams and Kelvin Owusu Ansah. Now, who was that, Porsha? I had to go look. Now, he's a sports journalist with 3 News in Ghana. She said, if this one African prince doesn't make it work for me, child, I'm going to go and get me another one. We don't know if they just friends or not, child. I don't know what's going on. I was being a little mixy. Now, number 3, he wants any and all communication between Porsha Diane Williams and Lauren Williams, who happens to be her sister. Any and all communication between Porsha Diane Williams and Karen McKinney. Any and all recordings or evidence reflecting relevant conduct by either party. Any and all communication between petitioner and respondent. Any and all evidence related to the party's marriage and or relationship. Any cell phone data. Any and all evidence obtained in the investigation of this matter. Any and all income records. Any and all financial and expense records. Any and all business records. Pretty much anything that he can get that's going to help his side of the case, he wants it. Now let's get into Porsha's request for immediate and emergency relief. It says wife seeks immediate and emergency relief to address husband's actions of improperly and impermissibly removing wife from the marital residence, contrary to the parties' prenuptial agreement and contrary to Georgia law. Even though husband is apparently out of the country in Dubai, he has changed the locks and the garage code multiple times to thwart wife's attempt to access her home, seemingly to simply be vindictive and retaliatory for wanting to divorce him. The parties have occupied the marital residence since prior to getting married on or about November 25th, 2022. The parties' prenuptial agreement dated November 11, 2022, which was drafted by husband's counsel in relevant part, provides upon an event of dissolution, Porsha shall have the right to remain in and occupy the marital residence, including up to the date the marital residence is sold, if the marital residence is sold. Upon the event of dissolution, Simon shall physically vacate, that means cease living in, the marital residence within 30 days, provided, however, Simon shall be permitted to leave his personal property, meaning his vehicles, in the marital residence for a period of up to 6 months from the event of dissolution. The agreement further provides that an event of dissolution shall be deemed to have occurred upon either party commencing through the filing with any clerk of any court, a proceeding for divorce, separate maintenance, annulment, or any other action seeking dissolution of the party's marriage. According pursuant to the terms of the agreement, an event of dissolution occurred on February 22nd, 2024, when the wife filed her complaint for divorce, would thereby require that husband physically vacate the marital residence by March 22nd, 2024. On March 15th, 2024, husband sent correspondence to wife wherein husband advised that he had no intention to contest the enforceability of the prenuptial agreement, that he expected strict compliance, and acknowledged husband need to vacate the marital residence by March 22nd, 2024. Husband requested an extension to vacate the marital residence by March 31st, 2024, and a response from wife by 5:00 p.m. on Tuesday, Tuesday, March 19, 2024. On March 19, 2024, wife's counsel sent correspondence to husband's counsel advising that wife declined the partial offer of settlement and that she expected full compliance by husband, which would include husband's relocation from the marital residence by Friday, March 22, 2024. On March 21, 2024, wife learned that husband disabled her access to the gate of the marital residence, effectively blocking her ability to access her own residence. Wife's counsel attempted to immediately resolve the situation with husband's counsel. However, those attempts were unsuccessful. Wife was able to contract a separate company to resolve her access. Shortly after regaining access to the marital residence, husband disabled wife's access to the residence, changed the locks, and changed the garage code almost immediately after wife left the residence. Wife counsel again attempts to resolve the matter with husband's counsel and learned that husband retained new counsel. Wife's counsel attempted to make husband's counsel aware of husband's actions, only to receive correspondence justifying husband's actions and directly contradicting previous correspondence sent by husband's counsel, in direct violation of the terms of the parties' prenuptial agreement, and despite having already previously acknowledged his need to vacate the marital residence. Husband's new counsel advised the following: Mr. Guobadia intends to maintain the status quo and continue to occupy the marital residence with his children until such time that the parties have resolved the issues in this case and there is a court order regarding the same. As such, Mr. Guobadia will not vacate the property on March 22, 2024. Porsha's attorneys go on to say husband's actions have resulted in wife and wife's minor child being displaced from their residence and appears to be in retaliation of wife's decision to pursue the instant divorce action. Wife respectfully requests that this court award wife immediate exclusive possession of the marital residence, given husband's erratic conduct, including disabling wife's access to the marital residence twice, and the terms explicitly outlined within the parties' prenuptial agreement. Wife further shows that husband appears to have fled to the country of Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and it is unknown when or whether he intends to return. So, according to Porsha, Simon has locked her out of the house. It doesn't even appear that he may even be returning to the United States. He just doesn't want her in the home if he has to pay for it, especially considering she already has another home that she owns that she purchased prior to the marriage. What I need to know is, what do you feel about everything going on between Simon and Porsha? Porsha possibly moving on to a new man in Ghana, as well as tell me what you think about Simon locking Porsha out of the home only to flee to Dubai. Leave a comment and you know how we do. We'll talk about it down below. Talk to you guys later. Bye. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that bell so you don't miss any of my new episodes.